Welcome to Seen and Heard podcast, where everyone should be seen and heard. I'm your host, Sharon, and tonight we are going to discuss Ron DeSantis and his attack on Black Americans and Black American history in this country. I'm going to open up with this video that kind of explains the attack, and we'll have some commentary on the other side of this one, plus a couple of other videos that we'll discuss on the other side of.
DeSantis has just packed the board of Florida's most progressive public college with hand-picked allies. He's aiming to turn New College into a conservative Christian school. These new board members include Chris Rufo, who's orchestrated the right-wing attack on critical race theory. And Rufo is straightforward about his goals. Quote, "We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all of the various cultural insanities under that brand category." Meanwhile, professors at other Florida universities are canceling their courses dealing with race for fear of being fired. Today, the presidents of Florida's system of community and state colleges put out a joint statement declaring they stand with Governor DeSantis and won't let evil critical race theory invade their campuses. Also today, the State Board of Education finalized a rule that could see school librarians prosecuted for having undesirable books in their libraries. Undesirable to DeSantis and his allies. And in a final flourish, today we learned that DeSantis has rejected a high school advanced placement course in African American studies. The course is already being piloted in 60 schools across the country, but apparently in the state of Florida, that curriculum is against the law. The conservative National Review reported excitedly today on the letter the DeSantis administration sent to the College Board, which sets AP course curricula. That letter says, quote, "The content of this course is inexplicably contrary to Florida law and significantly lacks educational value." And it invites the College Board to, quote, "come back to the table with lawful, historically accurate content."
Hello, lovelies. This is a message for the Black residents of Florida. Your governor, Ron DeSantis, has now told you, and his administration has told you in very explicit terms, how much he values your history and therefore how much he values you. And the amount of that value is zero. Ron DeSantis has decreed through his Stop Woke Act that the history of African Americans, as proposed to be taught in advanced classes, AP classes in Florida high schools, is illegal because it violates Florida law, the Stop Woke Act, and because it has, quote, "no educational value." No educational value, no discernible value at all. That means that the history of African Americans in the mind of Ron DeSantis, and according to his Department of Education, is valueless. There's no point in the best and brightest students in your high schools, students taking AP classes, voluntary AP classes, there's no point in them learning that history. What is valuable, according to Ron DeSantis, is to learn the history of Europe. I took AP classes in high school. They only offered classes about Europe. So he's saying we want that to continue. And you can learn the histories of the three powers that we fought during World War II: Italy, Japan, and Germany. That, in the mind of Ron DeSantis, has value. There's value in learning about European history and the history and language of Japan, but no value in learning African American history. I want you to take that in for a moment. This is a man who, when he was a history teacher, bullied students of color in the Georgia private school where he taught, and made it clear to them that he thought that the South had a point in the Civil War. He taught Civil War himself, openly favoring the Confederacy. And the students haven't forgotten it. That's your governor. He said that the National Hockey League must not and may not recruit non white people into a league to play and get interested in hockey, a sport that is played by, 99% white people. Not allowed. They must and only must recruit white players. I'm not sure what else Ron DeSantis has to do in order for you all to understand what he's saying. He has said it explicitly. You, African Americans, Black Floridians, have no value to him. Wake up, fight back, because this man wants to take that show to the White House.
Look here. As a man who served 8 years in the United States Marine Corps, out of necessity, not out of patriotism. Most black people that join the military anyway is out of necessity. It ain't like we love this motherfucker. But I'm fucking thinking about this Ron DeSantis and his ruling to not educate or not have black people educated about their history. Because of the no woke rule that he has in Florida. Look, man, they are telling us, I would say without telling us, but they're fucking telling us. They don't give a fuck about our history. Even though our history as black Americans in this country is American fucking history. Without our America wouldn't even be a fucking country, man. The black inventions that we are still using today, they don't want you to learn about. But more importantly, they don't want you to learn about the atrocities that their ancestors inflicted upon us. I mean, these motherfuckers were barbaric in the way they treated us. And they don't want you to know how sad, how bad, how fucking inhumane these savages were. I call them savages because they were. The shit that they did to us, but they don't want you to learn about that. They don't even want you to learn the good shit about us. Because we are supposed to be the savages. And I heard a lady say, and it shook me when I heard it. She said, if you don't have a narrative of your own, you will adopt the narrative of others. And therefore, when you adopt their narrative, their heroes or your heroes will look like them. And the villains will look like you. And if that ain't us in a fucking nutshell, I don't know what it is. All of our fucking heroes look like them. And we have our own fucking heroes, but we're not taught about them. And the villains, they look like us. And Lord knows, we ain't never marched in crowds through white communities and did the shit that they did to us. Fuck this place, man. Burn it down.
I'm I am speechless every day. I continue to be speechless by the attacks and the racial terror that Black Americans go through in this country. But yet, no politicians are banding together to get a bill to protect us. So, like he was saying, they don't care. And he was even in the military and they disrespected him, as well as other Black soldiers that fought in this country. And when they came home from war for fighting for this country, they were strung up in trees. So that was years ago. And then look at what they're still doing to Black Americans. Every day is racial terror. So I want to know. I'm really glad that my kids are not in school because I really don't know how I would be reacting to these laws that DeSantis is trying to implement. And like Joy Reid said, he's trying to get into the White House. he gets into the White House, he wants this all over the country. And other Republican governors are watching to see how this goes, if anybody reacts, if there's any pushback, which there should have been pushback like yesterday. This is ridiculous that we have to be under this racial terror every day like this. And nobody is reacting, boycotting, and protecting us and our children. Um, Call to action. What Who's organizing? I would like to know if anybody is starting to organize any pushback, any protests. Financial protests is the only thing that is going to matter to these people. The regular marching, calling, emailing, they don't care. They ignore all that. Obviously, um, they have. Well, Ron DeSantis. The other ones are quiet. They're watching, like I said. Um, Let it be known they do not care about the Black Americans and Black children in this country. So we need to get organized. I'm going to play another video here. Um, let's see. I think I have to turn this around.
Values your history and therefore how much he values you.
But the message isn't just for Floridians. Go back and watch the video and then come back here and we'll talk. So Ron DeSantis is saying he doesn't value Black Floridians. The GOP, which supports Ron DeSantis and is also pushing these measures to Texas, we've got all of these governors that are supported by the D are removing Black history from curriculum and removing Black books. GOP is saying that it doesn't people. Not a surprise. The Democratic Party needs to speak up. And so in this case, what we have is we have a bystander just standing there, standing around, not saying anything. So this may be the GOP, but until I hear otherwise, this is the Democrats. Time to speak up, y'all.
Values your history and therefore how much he values.
There's another video, one more video before we close out. So you think about the call to action. Who's organizing? How are we going to push back on this nonsense in this country?
In the minds of Southern youth that it would perpetuate itself for centuries.
If the GOP is committed to erasing American history, which includes the history of Black Americans, then the Democrats need to be as forceful in fighting for that American history.
Was so ingrained in the minds of Southern youth that it would perpetuate itself for centuries.
If the GOP is committed to erasing American history, which includes the history of Black Americans, then the Democrats need to be as forceful in fighting for that American history.
So if we have any allies out there, we need to get together, people that are really wanting to help and change and right this ship. Um, we're basically in free fall off the fascist cliff at this point. So fascism is here. There's no more fascism is coming here, or it's creeping in, or it's seeping in. Fascism is here in America. Nazis are here in America, and they represent the Republican Party, and the GOP represent the Nazis. So this is like 1930s Germany. So if you ever wondered, what would you do if you ever asked yourself this question? What would you do if you were in 1930s Germany before Hitler rounded up all of the Jews and put them in camps? What would you do if you were in 1930s Germany? Whatever you think you would be doing in 1930s Germany, you know, that's what you would be doing. You're doing now because we are full fledged on in fascist state. Ron DeSantis is an authoritarian. So with that, I'm going to close out. And like I said, our the call to action is how are we organizing, where are we organizing, and what we're going to do about the fascism, the fight against fascism, and saving democracy, because we are in a crucial moment right now. So let me see if I had one more video here. This is a short one tonight because my throat is sore, so I'm real sorry about that. But I'm trying to make sure. Okay, there we go. No, I don't have that lined up. So I'm gonna continue to talk about this. Some mainstream media outlets are talking about this, but we need to continue to keep talking about this because um, we're in. This is a red alert. I don't know how to stress how much trouble we're in this country with the Republicans. So with that, I will see you on the next and thank you for joining.
We'd like to hear from you. If you'd like to leave feedback, a comment, or ask a question, leave us a voicemail at 615-447-8290. Thank you. City Scene Productions / Media Company and Seen and Heard podcast are peer supported. All support is greatly appreciated, whether it is equipment or financial, every little bit helps. Every contribution, however big or small, powers our programming, staff, and creators, and sustains our future. Any amount you are able to give to help support our journey and progress will be greatly appreciated. If you would like more info, please go to our contact, leave a message, and one of the members of our team will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.